Okay, so good afternoon, everyone. First of all, thank you for coming in to our class. So I am Teacher Andrea. You can call me Miss Andrea or Teacher Andrea, whatever it is that you're comfortable with. So before we officially start our class, let us have a short devotion or prayer. So let us feel the presence of the Almighty, whom we believe, whom we individually believe. Lord, we thank you for this day and we thank you for this good weather, Lord God, and we thank you for providing us good and stable internet connection. We pray, oh God, that um, you bless us with knowledge and wisdom as we participate in our class, and we we humble all ourselves, Lord Jesus, in Jesus' mighty name. Amen. So now, before again we officially start our session, kindly type in your name in our chat box so I can check the attendance. Okay, thank you. Thank you. I can see. Okay, I can see everyone typing in their names. Okay, thank you so much. So as we officially start, let me state or let us know our learning objectives for today. So as this class or when the class ended, I will be expecting you all to analyze the figures of speech that is used in the text. And number two, engage in producing creative artworks. And for the last, identify the figures of speech used in the text. So I believe figures of speech is very much familiar with you since you have discussed it during your junior high school. So for next slide, please. Okay, so before we start, let us play and I will be testing your memory by playing a game in Kahoot. So, who's familiar here with Kahoot? Kindly like reaction, please. Can I receive? Okay, so I will be sending a link here in our chat box. You can, and please raise your hand if you can access the link. Oh, kindly raise your hand if you can already access the link. So once we access the link, the direction would be choose the correct figure of speech used in the statement. Okay, I can see Janeline and Christine already accessed the link. How about the others? Okay, Teresa and Charles is already in the game room. Also Christine and Shane. Okay, who's 176? Okay, I can see 5 students already in our game room. I'm still waiting for one. Okay, I think we're all complete in the game room. So let's start the game. Okay, so after looking at the students' full test score, the teacher says, you will surely finish the year with highest honor. What do you think is the figure of speech used in the sentence? Only have 8 seconds left. Okay, I can see 4 correct answers already. That's very good. And for the next item, we have, okay, Christine is our top one. As of the moment, the trees are dancing to the sound of the waves. What is the figure of speech used in the sentence? We already have 6 answers. Okay, so I think only 2 got the correct answer. And who's our top one as of the moment? It's Christine. Still Christine. And for the next item, we have the life cycle of a butterfly represents a person's growth. What do you think is the figure of speech? You already have 5, 6 answers. Already have 6 answers. Okay, time's up. I think so. We have 5. That's very good. That's very high. And still, Christine is our top one. And for the next item, we have she ran home faster than the lightning when she heard that her cousins visit them. What is the figure of speech used? Already got 6 answers. Okay, that's correct. It's hyperbole. We got 4 correct answers. Still, Christine is our top one. And for the last item, we have his whispers are music to her ears. What's the figure of speech used in the sentence? Okay, that's correct. It's metaphor, a very easy question. So, let's go back to our Canvas slide. But before that, okay, for the top 3, it's Charles. Top 2, Christine with CH. And our top 1 is Christine. Very good class. So, let us go back to our slide. And did you enjoy the game? Kindly give me your heart reaction if you do. Okay, so for our first question, did you find it easy to identify the figures of speech used in the following statements? So why or why not? I think I will be calling Christine our top one in the game.
For me, it was easy to figure out what kind of figure of speech it was because I'm quite familiar with figure of speeches, figures
Okay,
of speech rather.
that's very good to hear. I think our lesson will be easy. Will be easy for you. And for our next question, which of the statements is the hardest for you to identify? Who wants to answer this question? Okay, okay, Janeline, thank you for raising your hand.
From me, ma'am, from what I experienced kanina po, yung mostly po, nalilito ako sa metaphor and also the irony. Akala ko po yung kanina po yung first question is, metaphor, yun yung sinagot ko po nun.
That's okay, but we will discuss furthermore so that you will be more familiar with that one. And for our last question, which of the statements is the easiest for you to identify and why? Who wants to answer this question? Okay, Charles, you're raising your hand.
The easiest po para sa akin is metaphor because madali lang siya. It's like exaggerated statements lang po.
Okay, that's good to hear. And we will know more about those figures of speech once we go through our discussion. But before that, let us have another activity. So the activity that we're going to do for this time is entitled Complete Me. And I will be sending again a link, a peer deck link, wherein you can type in your answers later. Then kindly raise your hand if you already in the peer deck link. But before that, I can see, okay, I can see 3 students raising their hand. So before that, The instruction would be ready a set of numbers 1 to 10 in a notepad and fill in the blanks using the words or phrases that will complete the line containing figures of speech. So the ones that you'll be completing is a poem. Let us go to our peer deck. Okay. Can you see a box wherein you can enter your answers?
Yes po, ma'am.
Okay, thank you for your response. And I can see also Christine responded on the chat box. Thank you. So I will be sending also the poem in our chat box. So later when you have your answers, you can read it. You can read someone's answer. I will give you 4 minutes for this, okay? We'll be back at 1:15 exactly. And remember to raise your hand if you already got all the answers for 1 to 10. We still have 2 minutes. Take your time. One minute left. I think it's 2 minutes. Sorry. We still have 1 minute left. Okay, is everyone finished already? Let us see your responses here on the peer deck. Okay, from Joshua. How about the others? I think still answering. But Joshua, can you read your answers together with our poem sent in the chat box?
With eyes closed, I feel the rhythm in my heart, with echoes of the bright and the darkness. Words running wild behind these emotions. Oh, how powerful it is to ponder out of thought. Billions of images jammed in my mind, in my tiny mind. Organizing these emotions would take an eternity. But I don't mind spending an eternity to think. Oh, how salient it is to process my artistry. My heart and soul are intertwined of ideas and feelings. The number of stars at night represent my my ideas, swimming and following in the dance of the sky. Oh, how beautiful it is to dance in creativity.
Wow, that's very good. You have a very beautiful voice, and your answers are all creative, I think. And how about the others? Did you already input your answers in the peer deck? If you can't input your answers in our peer deck, you can input your answers in our chat box. Okay, I will give you 1 minute, additional minute for that. So we can see diverse or different answers. We'll be back again at 1:18. I can also see Christine's answer. How about the others? Did you already input your answers in the peer deck? Let us see. There's another answer. So again, Christine, can you read the poem using the words or the phrases that you input on our chat box?
Okay. Um, with eyes closed, I feel the rhythm in my heart. Wait, where's my? Okay. With the vibrations of the bright colors in the darkness, words running, seething behind these emotions. Oh, how powerful it is to ponder out of mind. Billions of wonders jammed in my tiny mind. Organizing these emotions would take an eternity, but I don't mind spending an eternity to ruminate. Oh, how salient it is to process my artistry. My heart and soul, sorry, wait, are the vessels of ideas and feelings. The number of stars at night represents my visions, swimming and following in the dance of tomorrows. Oh, how beautiful it is to dance in creativity.
Very good also. And I can see also another one, but I think Christine's the last one to read the poem. And let's move on to our to the next part. Okay, let us process the activity by answering the following questions orally. Um, you have you have the chance to volunteer by raising your hand or by clicking the raise hand button in our Zoom. And those who will not be answering orally can also answer questions using the chat box. So if you don't have a chance to speak, you can uh, you can chat here on our chat box with your ideas about the question. Okay. So, any questions regarding our instruction? Okay, so if none, then we'll start, I guess. For our first question, we have, how did you come up with the words or phrases you used to fill in the blanks? So I can see here that Teresa has a response. Can you answer this one, Teresa?
I used to be a poet po, a writer of poems. So whenever I see some things like that, or I have written a lot of poems back then. So when I have seen the activity, it is a very a fun activity for me. And I have come up with the words and the phrases just with the thoughts that come up to my mind whenever I read the line and what word would fit to it. So that's what I used and that's what I put to fill in the blanks po.
Wow, that's very good to hear that you already have a lot of experience writing creative texts or poems. Okay, so for our next question, we have, okay, what is the main idea of the poem? And explain. Okay, can you answer this question, Joshua?
Hello po. Am I heard po?
Yes, you're audible.
Okay, thank you po. For me po, I think, in my opinion po, this just expresses how someone would or someone's idea or thought isn't really processed that much, or parang we would want to show something through our imagination, but not many people have that kind of or have that kind of imagination. So sometimes um it just becomes a bunch of words that are really hard to explain, or becomes very complex to the point that we can't understand it. But if we took a closer look at it and maybe think about it more, we would see that these words do have meaning, but it was just emphasized more, or mas mas ginawang ano pa, kakaiba.
Yeah, that's very good to hear that you have thought of that main idea of the poem. So for our next question, we have did the figures of speech used in the poem help you in understanding the main idea of the poem? I can see Janeline raising her hand.
Am I heard po?
Yes, you're audible.
For me po, in my opinion as a student, ano po siya, 50-50 po kasi hindi po ako masyadong marunong pong gumawa ng mga poem. Like this po, lalo na kung impromptu po. Kaya I don't think na masyado po akong nagre-rely po in my own words po and ideas from my knowledge po. And also at the same time, tumutulong din siya para mag-enhance sa akin ng creativity na para gumawa ng mga gantong poems po on the spot.
Okay, that's very good to hear. And for our next question, we have, what skill should a person possess to produce an artwork? No one's raising their hands. Okay, it's Teresa. Can speak now.
I think that the skill that a person should possess po to produce an artwork is creativity po.
Wow, that's very good to hear. So, the main idea of the poem also speaks about creativity. And for the next question we have, I think it is just a continuation question for number 4. Is it important to be creative in producing artworks? Why or why not? Teresa, can you answer this one since you answered creativity for number 4?
Yes po. I think that it is important po to be creative in producing artworks because I believe that through creativity, art is produced. Kapag po tayo ay creative, we can create a lot of arts and through our ideas and our thoughts, nagiging maganda po yung napoproduce natin ng isang artwork. Naniniwala din po kasi ako na creativity is what makes an art alive.
Wow, that's very good to hear. Your last statement is very powerful. In producing artworks such as we're not pertaining only about visual arts, about music. We are also pertaining about artworks that includes or that involves words such as what we have earlier in our mini activity, the poem, or we can also be creative in other types or other forms of text that we can encounter and we can made by creativity. So for the last question we have, as a student, how can you engage in producing creative artworks? Cite a specific example. Okay, Joshua, you're raising your hand.
Good afternoon po. For me po, a way to engage in producing creative artworks is our experience na rin po. Our experiences po. Kasi this one I believe is innate na rin because we always experience things, new things, old things, everything to the point na pwede natin siyang gamitin as a concept or maybe an idea for our creative artworks. And as a specific example po, for me po, I love creating my own music or my own music with my guitar and with the choices of lyrics or the words that I use are ideas, are sometimes used from my past experiences, my newest experience, or maybe the felt of change and those things po that pops suddenly into my head po.
That's very good to hear also that you have experience writing your own music. I think the students here are all creative. And I can also see a reaction in our chat box from Christine. Writing is painting through words. That's very good to hear that you view creativity as to showcase your skills and to showcase your emotions and your ideas. And with that, we can now move on to our discussion with figures of speech. So in here, we are only going to tackle five common figures of speech and literary devices that is commonly used in writing poems or in writing different forms of text such as essays, short stories, and such like that. And for figures of speech, we are going to discuss metaphor, personification, hyperbole, irony, and symbolism. So, what are figures of speech and what is the use of figures of speech? So, figures of speech and literary devices are forms of expression to convey meaning. So, in using figures of speech, we use non-literal words, phrases, or sentences, like such as the examples earlier from our game in Kahoot and from our activity using the poem. So the use of figures of speech is to highlight or to emphasize significant concepts or ideas or thoughts in the statements. So the following are the common figures of speech that we can use in writing our text. So first one is metaphor. So it is the easiest one. I think Charles answered it earlier that the easiest part that he answered in our game is metaphor because it only states a direct comparison between two unlike objects or two unlike things as if they are the same. So they are treated, or the objects or the subjects in the statements are treated as if they are the same or they have the same characteristics, even if there's none. So for our example, trees are poems, the earth rides upon the sky. So from here, we can see that the trees and the poems are being compared to each other. Are they alike? No, right? So in here, they are two unlike things, but they are being compared to each other. So the next one would be personification. So in personification, a non-human creature, figure or other abstract concept and elements are described as if they have human-like characters. So this is also a comparative figure of speech wherein we compare an object or an animal or an element or an abstract or even an event into a person and into a person's character. So for our example, we have the wind is whispering a beautiful sound while the flowers are dancing on it. Seeing on the short video in the slide, we can see that it literally means that the flowers are moving because of the wind. But to creatively produce a statement, we can use or we can say that the wind is like whispering a beautiful sound. That's why the flowers are dancing on the sound that is produced by the wind. Do you get it? Okay, that's very good. And for the next figure of speech, we have hyperbole. In here, we use intentional exaggerations to produce too much emphasis on the idea or the message. So in hyperbole, we use exaggeration, too much exaggeration, such as our example. We have I had to wait in the station for 10 days, an eternity. It is from Heart of Darkness by Joseph Conrad. So in here, uh, 10 days 10 days is being compared to an eternity, meaning it's too long. He waited too long for in the station. So an eternity, it's an exaggeration since it is impossible to wait for an eternity in a station, right? And for the next one, by the way, if you have questions, you can raise your hand. And for the fourth figure of speech, common figure of speech is irony. So it is used to convey an opposite meaning. Meaning when we state the statement, it is not what we literally mean. It is the opposite. So for example, we have oh, by the way, there are two kinds of irony. So we have verbal irony and situational irony. So in verbal irony, the writer or the speaker's words that are incongruent with his intent. So it is only used in statements. While in situational irony, we use it to describe a situation, um, wherein we describe a situation in an opposite way. So for verbal irony, we have the cake is so soft like concrete. So do you know what concrete is? Yes, the concrete is hard, right? So the intent here is to say that the cake is so hard that it is like a concrete. It is hard as a concrete, but the speakers use the word so soft, right, to produce its opposite meaning. And for situational irony, the fire station at the end of the street burned down into ashes. It is very ironic to hear that a fire station is burning down into ashes, while a fire station should be the one uh, to help the fire to stop, right? So these are the examples of verbal irony and situational irony. Did you get it? Okay, thank
Yes po,
you.
ma'am.
Thank you for your response. And for our last common figure of speech that we can use in our text, we have symbolism. In symbolism, we express ideas or qualities using symbols to represent what we want to express. So for example, we have it is from William Shakespeare, As You Like It. All the world's a stage, and all the men and women merely players. They have their exits and their entrances, and one man in his time plays many parts. So again, it is from the writings of William Shakespeare. So the symbolism here, we can say that a stage is used to symbolize the world, and players are here in the statement to symbolize all the men and women, right? Okay, so that is the use of symbolism to represent something or to symbolize something that you want to express. So, do you have any question regarding these figures of speech? Any questions? So, if none, I think you are all ready to participate or to do our next activity. So, for our next activity, do you know or are you familiar with this picture?
Yes po.
Yes, all caps lock, Harry Potter. So it's Harry Potter. So what we are going to do is we are going to go to this link. I will be sending in the chat box. Okay, go to this link to join our game. So it's called Figures of Speech Harry Potter Edition. I think all the Potterheads here would enjoy the game. Okay, and please raise your hand if you already access the link. I can see 4 people raising their hand. Okay, 6. Okay, so I think we can start now. So for the direction, you'll just have to read the following lines from the famous movie Harry Potter and state which figure of speech is used in the following lines from our favorite Harry Potter. So I think we can start the game. Okay. So for question 1, we have Quirrell was a great teacher. Is stated by Harry Potter. I think all the Potterheads here would get the correct answer. If you know who Quirrell is, I think. No one answered the question. It's irony, okay? So why is it irony? Because Harry Potter is. Do you know Quirrell? Who Quirrell is in Harry Potter? I think no, or you forget about it. So Quirrell is not a great teacher for Harry Potter. That's why it's a situational irony. So let's move on to our next question or our next statement. For our next statement, we have the wand chooses the wizard, Mr. Potter. What do you think is the figure of speech used? Okay, so it's personification. So the personification used in the statement in here, the wand is being or is given a person-like character who can choose the wizard. Okay, do you understand? Yes,
Ma'am,
and
excuse me po. Ano po,
yes,
pag pinipindot po yung link po, hindi po siya nag-under po yung mismong slide po. Bali po
oh,
hindi po maka-join.
okay. I think there are technical issues. Let me check it first. Okay. Did you already enter your nickname?
Not yet po. Bali po parang ano lang po siya, nasa starting point lang po.
Okay. So I think you can raise your hand if you want to answer. So let's go to the third one since we already answered the first and the second one. Okay, so for our third statement or line from Harry Potter, it's from Ron Weasley. I'm so hungry I could eat a hippogriff and Merlin's beard. Hey, Christine, you're raising your hand.
The answer is hyperbole.
Okay, hyperbole, why?
Because Ron doesn't really mean that he's gonna eat a hippogriff because that's so huge. So
Yes, it seems to be an exaggeration, too much exaggeration. For the next one, we have, okay, it's from Hermione. You foul, loathsome. You are an evil little cockroach. What do you think is the figure of speech used in the line? Who wants to answer? Christine again. How about the others? How about the other Christine? Christine Joy. Oh, you're also Christine Joy. Christine Joy.
Yes, ma'am. I think it is metaphor.
Yes, it's metaphor. So, what did Hermione directly compared to um his or to her or to this boy?
I think Hermione compared that boy to a little evil cockroach. That's why it's metaphor.
Yes, that's very good. And for the last one, we have get too near a Dementor and every good feeling, every happy memory will be sucked out of you by Remus. What do you think is the figure of speech used in the line? Raise your hand if you want to answer. Janeline.
I'm not sure po, symbolism po.
Yes, that's very good. So a Dementor is symbolized um, by unhappy and bad feeling. And he mentioned that all the memory will be sucked out of everyone who get near the Dementor. That's very good, and you all did well in our activity, although there are some technical difficulties and issues from the from our link. But I think we can go on the next activity or the next one. I think you already understand figure of speech, right? Okay, so are you ready to take a short quiz? Okay, so I think yes, according to Christine, yes, and I can see heart reactions from our students. So let's have our quiz. So I will be providing again the link and I will be giving you 5 minutes to answer the quiz. So what you're going to do is to identify which type of figure of speech is used in the sentence. So remember to write your answers using capital letters. Are you already on the link? Please raise your hand if you can access the link. Okay, Janeline is already there in our link. Also Christine, two Christines. And Charles, how about Joshua and Teresa? Okay, I can see. How about Joshua? Are you already on the link? Okay, so we can start now. First, type in your first name and your last name, and the email address is optional. You can leave that one. Then you can start the quiz. I will give you 5 minutes to answer, but if you are already done, even before the 5 minutes is finished, you can chat in or type in our chat box the word done. You understand? Okay, thank you for your response by Nadine. Let us start the timer, please. You only have 3 minutes. Okay, Christine is already done. The two Christines are already done. We'll wait for the others. We still have 2 minutes and 30 seconds. Teresa's also done. Okay, we're still waiting for another one to finish. We still have 1 minute and 10 seconds. We have less than 1 minute. Okay, we're all done with 20 seconds left. So I think, is the quiz easy or is it hard for you to answer the quiz? I think no, because you finished. It was easy after the discussion, right? So the discussion really helped. And thank you so much also for your participation in our discussion and in the activities. So for the next one, before we officially end our session, I'll just uh, provide you your assignment. So for your assignment, you will create a 300 word essay about the health workers amidst the COVID-19 pandemic. And the essay should contain examples, at least one example for each figure of speech, literary devices that we have been discussed earlier, such as one for metaphor, personification, hyperbole, irony, and one for symbolism. It would too, but if you can insert a lot of figures of speech, it would be an additional point. So to guide you in writing your essay, I have sent the link for our rubric. So we have here organization. Sorry, it's relevance to the theme and organization. Complete use of figures of speech, so at least one that will do, and grammar and typography, no grammatical errors and no typography, so you have to be careful in writing your or in typing your essays. And you have number of words, so it should be not less than 300 So if it would exceed, it's still good according to our rubrics. But if it's less, then you have a deduction. And in timeliness, so you have to submit the assignment next meeting when we have our next session. So do you have a question regarding, or do you have a general question regarding everything that we have been discussing and in our assignments especially? I think there's no question. So if there's none, I will now bid you goodbye. Thank you so much for your time and effort to attend our class. And I hope I can see you next meeting for our class. Thank you.